Diddy had some type of affinity for him. It seemed like there was more than
Mm-hmm.
just a business relationship. Now, I'm not saying that it was intimate, as in like sexual, because I don't know about that. But it did seem like it ran deeper than business. And so I'm wondering if there was a fault in that relationship that caused that separation.
Um, I have heard this. I can't remember who it was. Gosh, I can't remember who it was, but it was somebody that had a podcast that had Diddy's old bodyguard on there. You probably might know what I'm talking about. And he was talking about how Fonzo Bentley he stole, like, and he would steal things from Diddy. And so maybe that I'm not saying that this is true, but I am saying that that's what the
Allegedly.
bodyguard that he had at that time allegedly said that, he would steal things like apparently Jennifer Lopez had bought these like $3,000 boots and we're looking all over for them. Apparently, Farnsworth was the last person that was, kept to sign for them or whatever, and those boots went missing. So allegedly, he was stealing things, but I don't know.
That information makes it even more interesting from some other testimony that we were hearing where the assistant said that when things would come up missing, Diddy would make them take a lie detector test and do
Mm-hmm.
all of these extreme actions. But without knowing that information, it seemed extreme to me. So to me now, it sounds like he had PTSD. That if that is true, the allegations that Farnsworth Bentley was stealing, that would make sense
Makes sense.
because he would have
Mm-hmm.
PTSD from that experience.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that Diddy will get off with everything that you have seen so far, from people covering the case? Do you think that there is a chance that, and there's always a chance he's gonna get off, but do you think he will?
I do, excuse me. I do think there's a chance that he'll get off, and I'll tell you why. Going back to my previous statements, which were the deflecting. When they're pulling people up on the stage, they're asking people about their personal experiences. Rarely do I hear, "Did you see Diddy do A, B, C, or D?" They have people coming up there and they are airing out their personal experiences, the things that they did. Not many people are specifically saying what Diddy did. Does that make sense? Am I making sense?
Mhm. Yeah.
They're talking about their grievances with like whatever it was they were going through. Um and not too much about like they put so much emphasis on the freak offs and who Cassie was intimate with and bodily fluids and clothing and oh he has a closet full of stripper heels and fleece and so on and so forth. But it's like, okay, you're not still talking about what he did. Did he force people to put that on? Were they
Mm-hmm.
reusing these items? Did he put on any of these items? Was he forcing people? Having a
The
conversation
fleece.
having a conversation about Cassie having intimacy with a um worker and that worker um ejecting fluids on Cassie and then Diddy apparently allegedly licking it up off of Cassie or slurping it up off of Cassie still does not put him in a position to say that he's being harmful. So we're still deflecting, we're telling stories about things that other people did, but we're still not putting him at the head of it. Like, how was he the aggressor? How was he intimidating in these situations? And so I think that's what needs to be focused on. If we don't come to focus on that, I do believe there's a good chance for him to get up.
I feel bad for the people that if he does. Imagine, like, if he is a
You were
vindictive
aired out for
person.
nothing. Oh, he is. Come on, allegedly.
Yeah, like if he's in a big, if he's a, allegedly, if he's a vindictive person, like they're saying that he is, and he's a person that is about revenge, the people that are coming out and telling their stories, I would be scared. Would definitely be scared. I think like he might, I think like they would charge him for maybe the drugs, the prostitutes, different things, but it won't get him on the sex traffic. Well, they might not get him on the records hearing, but I believe that they would. I believe that they have him, and they're gonna try to like pin things some kind of way on him, and he's gonna do some serious time. Maybe not as much as like they originally want him to do, but I feel bad too because he's got, children and a family, but he had children and a family when he was doing all these things.
I don't feel bad for him. I
And
feel
some
bad for the children because they're school
guys
age.
definitely feel bad for his children. Yeah.
They're school age. They were in. I wasn't following them. I don't like to follow people who are underage on social media. That's just me personally. I don't agree with having underage children on social media. I don't believe in posting pictures, videos, so on and so forth. But I've also been on the internet for very long. Some of you guys know that I started off doing YouTube and becoming a partner, so on and so forth, when it was very young. And so I know the capabilities of what goes on the internet. So I personally am against that. So I don't like to follow underage children, usually 19 or younger, if I know how old they are. But I did see them on TikTok. I'm on TikTok often. I scroll, so on and so forth. And so I saw that they were in like cheer competitions, and they were leading a normal as a life as you could with billionaire parents, I suppose. And it's like all of that's going to change for them. What they had of normalcy. Because if they are now going back into those areas, this is going to be distracted. I can see them being bullied or whatever the case may be, or having to have this conversation with people. So this completely changes the trajectory of their life and the normalcy that they may have had. I don't feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for those girls.
Yeah, I definitely feel sorry for his children. And his family, like I don't know. For some reason, I can't feel sorry for his mom. Like, I tried to put myself in that position. How would I feel hearing these terrible things about my child? But then I also feel as a parent, you somewhat know your child.
Babe.
What?
Have you not heard the allegations against his mother?
They haven't heard the allegations against his mom.
Well, grab a cup of tea. Let's sip.
Hold on, let me get it.
Okay, let me tell you. So the allegations are that as a child, his mom threw freak-offs and had him as a participant. That not only was he a witness, but allegedly she had these and he participated. So what they're saying is that he also has a Poseidon complex.
Boyd saw it though. He believed that boys reach a developmental stage where they lust after their mothers, see themselves as love rivals with their fathers, and want their fathers dead. They don't realize that they're doing this because it's an unconscious desire coming from the id. It gets censored by the conscious mind. The Oedipus complex is named after the character who killed his father by mistake and slept with his mother Jocasta without realizing who she was. Girls go through a similar phase when they unconsciously fall in love with their fathers and want their mothers out of the picture, sometimes called the Electra complex.
In that now it was just taken from that scale to this larger scale, because now he has more gains, right? He has the finances to make this a RICO case. He has the finances, to take this across state lines and across country and so on and so forth.
Mhm. Did not know that. Okay, then
Mhm.
my feelings are right. I can't
Again, all
sympathize
of
with
this
the
is
mom.
all of this is alleged, but that's what I was hearing in some of the research that I was doing. And when I say research,
Thank you for
I'm
sharing that
Googling.
because I didn't know what the Poseidon complex was. I didn't know that was.
Hmm.
I
And
know
so,
that in cases sometimes where there is a single mom and there is a son and she has a son, sometimes he's the one that feels like he's burdened with being like the man of the house. And because he feels like he's the man of the house or whatever, in some cases, yeah, that he could grow an attraction that way. As you said, this is a lot.
hmm and when I say I'm doing research, let me tell you guys, I have not been super invested. The stint of my research is like reading a few articles via Google, listening to a few people via TikTok. I have not gone on to X. I have not gone on to Blue Sky. I have not looked at any court documents. I have not read any transcripts myself. I just don't. I'm choosing not to be that invested. I do feel sorrow for Cassie and Don and Aubrey O'Day and these people who were severely mentally,
Mhm.
emotionally, and physically affected by this. However, I'm human. I got my own life to live. So I'm being aware of what's happening, but I am not completely immersing myself into
I just listen to Armin when he like does the coverage, and then I'm like, on to my day. But
it. Hmm.
I will say that you know, think about it. Like I get it that Cassie thought she was gonna be like this huge superstar and get this 10. It was never given 10 albums. Like never was it given 10 albums. But I'm just like, who has Puffy really produced that was real big?
But see, she was a
Other than
child.
Biggie.
She was a child. When you are outside of the entertainment industry and you hear 10 albums, I feel like it doesn't hold as much weight when you don't comprehend the work of what that means.
Yeah.
Like, are you
And then
really,
it's
as
like
a
it's
new
kind of
artist,
like
going on
you know
10
how
tours?
like yeah. Do you know how like R. Kelly, like how he was promising these young girls like you're gonna be a star? And I was like, when all that happened, I was just like, who did he really help have a career besides Aaliyah? Like, who think like he really had nobody under his like record label for real that was like, you know, superstar.
I'm going to transition the conversation really quickly. So now we're getting
Yeah.
into,
Let's
um,
transition.
now we're getting into affecting people's emotions, and what really affects people's emotions is hope. When you give people hope for things that they want, for things that they don't have, or when you give people hope for possibility. When you give someone hope, that is hope. Let me say this: hope that you do not plan on satisfying. That is some of the most diabolical things that you can do. And because they had this position of power, they were selling hope. They were giving
Mhm.
people this hope of, if you do A, B, C, or D, then I'm going to make all of your wildest dreams come true. And not only that, but it's like, let me also aid in giving you dreams. Let me tell you what you can't see because you've never been aware of it. Let me give you information and let you know of things that are possible that you didn't even fathom of. Most people are not fathoming owning an island or having an entire private island to themselves. So hearing that they're flying these people to these private islands and like this is hope, this is what you could have, this is what you could do. It's like they're over what 3,000 billionaires in the world. It's a very excuse me. There's a very slim chance that you'll become one of those if it's not inherited. But when you
Mhm.
give people that hope and you allow them to see these things, right? Now these things are tangible.
Mhm.
That is what they did. That is what all of them did. That is, and excuse me, even on a smaller level, people do that. There's some people who want simple things or what seems simple, like marriage, children, a dream career. And then you hear these people in these jobs and they're giving this hope. Hey, you do this work, you do this and that. I'm going to give you this promotion. Hey, you stick around me through my bad behavior. I'm going to give you this ring. I'm going to marry you. You know what I mean? They do these things. And for
Mhm.
me, I think that is some of the most despicable work to give someone to sell hope when you have no desire or intent to um to actually manifest it. And that's exactly what we're
Kind
seeing
of
in these
like
cases.
it's kind of like monetary abuse in a way,
It's more than that.
like an abuse of power. It's an abuse of power, but yeah, it's an
Hmm.
abuse of power. It's also,
It's financial
a
abuse.
control.
It's
Yeah,
financial abuse.
financial.
It's emotional abuse. It's all of that. And that's why I tell people stop wanting what other people have. And when I'm in these classrooms and these children are talking to me, like, regardless of how you feel about this, is how I feel. And if they talk to me now, these are teenagers. When they take it upon themselves to have a conversation with me, I tell them the world doesn't owe you anything. You owe yourself everything. Do not look for other people to satisfy your wants or your needs. And do it with dignity. Figure out what you have to do and do that. One of these young girls told me she didn't know what she wanted to do with life, but she works as a lifeguard for the summer. I said, "Oh, well, if you work as a lifeguard, that means you know how to swim." She said, "Yes, I know how to swim. I love swimming." I said, "You're 14 years old. If you dedicate right now to what you love doing, which is swimming, I'm going to see you in the Olympics. You're going to be one of the youngest black female Olympians to win gold because that's what you're telling me that you love." And so that's one of the first things
Right.
I try to
Mhm.
instill into these kids. You cannot allow someone to sell you hope. You have to pay for your own hope. And how do you do that? By putting the work in, by figuring out how to get what you need. No one in this world owes you anything. You owe yourself everything. So it definitely breaks my heart when I hear these stories of these people who were wanting things. Now, this may be an unpopular opinion, but I feel like had she been led the correct way, Cassie could have been a big star. I'm not saying that she would have been Beyonce, but I
No,
do
but she would have
think.
been up there because you think about it. You think about when Cassie entered the scene, though. Like she entered with, what did she enter? I think she did enter around the same time as
That's like Nicki
Beyonce. Didn't
Minaj.
she?
No, Beyonce been
Yeah,
doing this.
she entered the time, and plus, well,
Like
you know
oh
what I mean.
08, right?
She, yeah, she entered into like a time when like she worked with the right people. Like you said, she could have been something had
Like
she
oh
not
06,
been
08, you know what I'm
preoccupied.
saying?
But
Right around the time
yeah,
Nicki was popping, like thinking about if she had a collab with Nicki, and just there were so many opportunities where she could have
let me
actually.
tell you, because let me tell you, when she came out with Me and You, like that was a bop. Like it was a bop. Like
Okay, you couldn't
can't
go
deny
nowhere
it.
without
Like
hearing
as
it.
soon as you heard it, yeah, as soon as you
Hmm.
heard it, you was like, oh my God. Like I loved that song. So yeah, she definitely, like you said, if you would have kept her going and put her in the right position, or even if she worked with the right people, she definitely could have been funny. It's
She
unfortunate
wasn't
that
protected. She
it
wasn't
ended out this
protected
way
or
because
guided.
now she wasn't. And it's like now she's gonna be remembered for this and not her talent.
Hmm. But let me say this. I know for a fact dreams can change. So though that might have been her dream and it may not have manifested, I believe she may have new dreams. And she got the 10, $20 million lawsuit wins to help guide her. So let's hope
30,
that. Hmm.
30 million. She got 20 million from Diddy, and then she's getting 10 million from the Intercontinental Hotel.
Right. So, I mean, hopefully she's not in a ton of debt, and hopefully she's able to, uh, I want to say curate, but I don't think that's the word that I'm looking for. But hopefully she's able to create a income base that allows her to get an overflow of that money and whatever her new dreams are. I hope they manifest.
I hope that too. And I hope that, you know, she communicates with her daughters, because think about it, in the future, her daughters are going to hear this. They're going to see these things about their mom. So hopefully she's able to communicate, like, I wasn't protected, or, I just got in the wrong company and trusted the wrong people. And, she's able to explain it to her children. Let me reach out here for my Stanley Cup.
Yo, not the Stanley Cup. That's right. Drink your water, babe. But yeah, I mean,
Drinking my
that's
water.
it.
Gotta
That's
stay
it.
hydrated.
That's it for me today.
I think
Anything else
that's
you
it.
want to say? You want to wrap this up?
I hope everyone has a great week, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Turn it out.
Yes. We will see you in 2 weeks, airing it out. Make sure you subscribe, thumbs up this post, leave us some comments. What I want to start doing is screenshotting some of the comments, putting them in the video. If you want your comment to be in the video, go ahead and drop a comment below. Comment on our airing it out page, and you might see yourself. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a great day.
Bye.